It's kind of ironic. Poor people love spending money on Gucci so they can look rich versus real rich people love spending money on things that help them look normal so they can just fit in. But the real reason why some people will get rich, while most people will stay poor, isn't because of what clothes you wear. It's because of this. See, in our economic system today, there are three different types of people. We have consumers, the C, we have investors, this I, and then we have entrepreneurs, the E. Now, every single person is a consumer. Rich people, middle class people, poor people, everybody's a consumer because everybody's got to eat and everybody's got to have clothes on their back. But not everybody is an investor and not everybody is an entrepreneur. And the way that our economic system works is everybody is a consumer, which means everybody's going to go and spend money at a business. An entrepreneur is going to create a business and people got to spend money there, right? You need food, you need clothes, you need a car, you need things. People will spend money. But now who does that benefit? It doesn't benefit you. I mean, yeah, you get some clothes, but you don't actually make any money. When you go and buy something at Walmart versus Gucci, it doesn't actually put any wealth in your pocket. It's just putting money into the entrepreneur's pocket, but that also benefits the investor. Because now when you go out and spend money at Walmart or Amazon or Gucci, yeah, the entrepreneur gets the money, but so does the investor, because guess what? Anybody can be an owner of Amazon or Walmart because these are publicly traded companies, which means they're traded on the stock market. So if you buy one share of Amazon, you buy one share of Walmart, you become one of the owners of these companies. But that's not kind of the point of what I'm talking about right now. The key here is consumers spend money, which then benefit the investors and it benefits the entrepreneurs. So consumers are working to earn money to fuel this economic system. The problem is most people are only consumers and employees. Now, most people are only consumers, meaning they make money just to spend money. This is why most people will stay poor, is because they're fueling this economic system with no benefit to them. All their money is just going out. Well, nothing's coming back in. Versus some people go out and start a business. You don't have to start a business to benefit from this. But some people will go out and start a business and then they have the potential to reap the rewards because then consumers will spend money in their business. And then some people will go out and start investing, which means instead of using the money to consume a product, they use their money to buy an asset. They use their money to buy some ownership. And now when you do that, you get to benefit from the way this economic system works, because then when consumers spend money, you get to benefit as well. I mean, we've seen some crazy things happen in the last couple of years where people will spend money they don't have. And it's funny in some instances when you see people talking about how they spent $8,000 on a trip to Bali when they had already all this credit card debt. But that is what stimulates the economic system. Them going out and spending money they don't have benefits Delta, it benefits Hilton, it benefits these companies. It's really bad for your personal finances. I am not an advocate of this. It is not your patriotic duty to live broke for the sake of our economy, okay? I am a big teacher of don't do that. But I'm going to talk reality now. That spending, which unfortunately is the majority of America. The majority of America has no idea of how to use their money. So what do? They just spend, and then spend more with credit card debt, and then spend more with lines of credit, and then spend more with buy now, pay later, or as I like to call it, broke now, broke later. But that's what stimulates this economic system. So most people are just spending, and then spending more with all this debt, which benefits these people, leaving this person broke. Now you might have heard me say, I kind of hinted at this, is most people are just consumers and employees. Now, what does being an employee have to do with it? I'm not saying that being an employee is bad. I'm saying this from a tax perspective because as an attorney who's not your attorney, what I can tell you is that as an employee, you are subject to the highest taxes and lowest tax write-offs. Now, what do I mean by an employee? I mean a W-2 earner. A W-2 earner is subject to the highest tax rates. It's called the ordinary tax rates, and you're also subject to the lowest tax write-offs. Versus when you are an entrepreneur, you are subject to higher potential tax deductions. When I go out, I was just in San Diego for a little while and Los Angeles for a business trip. That trip, that flight out to Southern California was a tax write-off for my business. The meals that I ate with the partners that I was meeting out there were tax write-offs. The car that I had to drive was a tax write-off. The hotel that I had to stay in was a tax write-off because that's what the tax code says. Investors also get either lowest tax breaks or higher tax write-offs. And what I mean by that is if you go out and you make $1 million in the stock market. You buy a stock and then 5 years later you make $1 million profit and you sell it. You have $1 million of profit. Well, you pay lower taxes on the $1 million of profit here versus if you earned that money as, say, a doctor. If you made $1 million as a doctor in a year, half of that money, or about half, is going to go to taxes, depending on what state you live in. Versus if you made $1 million as an investor from your stock market portfolio, now, as of today, your top tax rate is 20%. This is why it's so important to understand this. Now, again, what I'm saying is not that you need to quit your job. What I'm saying is you have to understand this, because if you live in a first world country like America, you have to be a business owner. Now, I'm not saying you need to quit your job and go out and start a business, because most people, the vast majority of people, should not go out and start a business. I'm not saying it's wrong to be a business owner. I'm not saying it's wrong to be an employee. What I'm saying is you have to understand the system, because guess what? You can own a business without operating it. You can go out and be an investor and own businesses without having to operate them. Because guess what? Starting a business is hard. It's got its own stresses. I know being an employee is hard. It's got its own stresses as well. But not everybody's meant to be an entrepreneur. And there's nothing wrong with that. Guess what? You don't have to be an entrepreneur to benefit from the system. Look, anybody can be an investor. If you have $100 in your pocket right now, you can be an investor and start benefiting from the way that this economic system works. But that requires you to, number one, understand this. I don't understand, but we don't learn this in school. I went through a lot of schooling. I went through high school, college, a year of grad school, and then law school. And I never once learned to think about money, never once learned to think about investing, never once learned to think about building wealth. Yet every single person is going to school that way they can become wealthy, right? I mean, we go to school that way we can get a good job, so we can ultimately make money, so we can ultimately build wealth. But there's a little bit of a disconnect, because having a job is different than building wealth. Having a job gives you an income. Investing is how you build a fortune. But we're never taught the differentiation. See, we all want to build wealth. Nobody grows up thinking, I can't wait to be broke and in debt. Everybody grows up thinking, I can't wait to become successful so I can build wealth and buy nice things and take care of my family and go on nice vacations and have freedom. That's what we grow up thinking, but we're never taught that. If you enjoyed this clip and you want to continue your financial education journey, I have another video that I think you'll love. All you got to do is click that button right over there. And for those of you who want to stay up to date on the top finance and business news, you can join Market Briefs, my free financial newsletter, by clicking that button below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.